on your community radio 3CR.
We are still fired up and we're still talking about revolution.
Hello and welcome to the Doin' Time Show. This is 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial, streaming live on www.3cr.org.au. First up on the show, we'll be speaking with Ali, who is an asylum seeker being detained in Perth. He has had a terribly tough life over the last 7 years, I'd say. Ali has been transferred to quite a few detention centres. He's been demonised and persecuted by guards for spreading the word about atrocious conditions in detention. And we're going to be speaking with him now about what's been happening. At the moment, he's detained in Western Australia, and we'll speak to him about that shortly. After that, hopefully we'll be speaking with Brett Colins from Justice Action, and we'll be talking to him about an inquest that happened about the Aboriginal death in custody of David Dungay Jr., who died in Sydney's Long Bay Prison Hospital after being violently manoeuvred by corrective service officers held face down and sedated because he refused to stop eating a packet of biscuits. If we are not able to speak with Brett, we will give you an update of the inquest findings. But in the meantime, I'm going to line up an announcement, and we will cross over to Ali shortly.
Is this what we...
Believe the bullshit that's made today's headlines. From the front page to the back page, it's just a pack of lies. A bunch of rich pricks telling us what they want us to hear. But the world that they present to us is not as it appears. Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? A daily dose of fantasy in a world of make-believe, where the freedom of the press is just the freedom to deceive. They glorify the wealthy and they justify their greed, while they ridicule the powerless and those who live in need. So is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? The same old garbage, and they bang the same old drum. The cops are always heroes, and the rest of us are scum. Spreading racist bullshit, so we fight among ourselves. The rich end up in power, and the poor end up in cells. Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? Is it true? Or did you read it in the right-wing press? It's not true.
And you're back with the Doing Time show. And I ended up playing a song called Permanent Revolution. Now, actually, sorry, it's by a band by Permanent Revolution, I should say. We have now Ali on the line, and he is an asylum seeker who is detained in Western Australia at the moment. And as I said in my intro, he has had a terrible life over the last couple of years and has been trying to help others as well. Hello, Ali. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Marisa. How are you? How are you doing? Good?
Yeah, not bad, Ali. It's lovely to have you on the show. Now, you're in hospital, aren't you, at this current time?
Yes. At the current time now, I'm in the hospital. I've been 4 days, and I just got confirmation I'm not going to go back to the detention. Probably another 2-3 days. That's at least.
Are you able to tell listeners why you ended up in hospital, Ali? Is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's two managers in the centre running the detention, totally perfect, and there's another two managers running the detention with incidents and disaster. Two managers consistently, two of them are good and two of them are bad. Manager Huey and Rosa running the centre as running a Bunnings warehouse or a warehouse or something, and the other two managers running it smooth with no incident.
Okay.
And then I was laying down about 1 o'clock nighttime. I want to sleep, and they came up and they said, "Oh, the rules is in this room. If you sleep, you gotta leave the lights open all night." I said, "But I can't sleep. If I leave the lights open, I can't fall asleep." He said, "That's the rules." I said, "But it's never been this one rules. I've been here already for 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, never been
And
this
where's
rules."
this, Ali? What's this detention centre?
Perth CIDC, Perth
Detention Centre.
Immigration Detention Centre, in Perth City.
Okay.
I'm not happy to be there. I didn't want to go there. I said, I'm happy to be in Perth. Send me to Yongah Hill, but they're not sending me to Yongah Hill because they reckon, because of the social media behaviour and the people there are waiting for you, and they looking at me, the boys there looking at me as a positive outcome to them if I go there, because I will help them and get things changed.
So they see you as a leader, they see you as someone who is exposing what's happening inside the detention centres, so they're targeting you and giving you a hard time. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So Ali, tell us what happened. What led to the hospital stay there? What happened?
So they trying to leave the lights open in my room. I said, "Come on, man, stop giving me hard time and just let me go to sleep." And he didn't let me go to sleep, and I got really kind of upset and really down because I just need to sleep. I'm tired. Yeah. And then I had to open the remote control and swallow the battery of the remote control. And then now the battery is stuck in my stomach. Been 4 days. They done already operation and they filed to take it out. They filed to take it out. They couldn't find it in the. So when they took the X-ray, after 1 hour, when they went and do the operation, they didn't find it in the same place. So they done the operation based on 1 hour ago, the battery where it is, and it got moved to another place, which is they can't get to it. It's a sensitive place in the stomach. They can't get to it unless they damage me. So they couldn't do the operation, and they took me back. And now the battery being stuck in my stomach, and I'm stuck in the hospital with no food, only fluids. So
you swallowed the battery,
yes,
because you were very, very upset about the conditions in the detention centre.
Yeah, they tried to give me a hard time. They tried to give me a hard time by them moving me from Adelaide to Perth. I don't mind it if they did move me to Yongah Hill, but I mind it when they moved me to PIDC, because PIDC is a really, really bad centre. For another incident in the centre, 8 people in a room. Every small bedroom.
Too much overcrowding. Yeah.
Overcrowding. And I was even talking to some health, environment issues and safety. They said 8 people in one room, that's a fire hazard as well, and a trip hazard, because bags and shoes and everything all over the floor.
Ali, it's you're from Iraq, isn't it? Is that right? So you're from Iraq, and you were in Australia, and you had a visa, and so you went to prison at first, didn't you? You served your time, and it was just for a very, very small parking violation, wasn't it?
Yes.
And so then they put you were put in detention. Instead of letting you serve your time, why didn't they just let you go back into the community? What it sounds to me is that
winning the case.
That's right, and it sounds to me as though you've been through such horrendous circumstances. Your mother has cancer; she's very ill, and you've been shoved from pillar to post. You know. Then we had that court case in Melbourne, didn't we? Where the guards were putting an intervention order for some nonsense about you posting videos or something, trying to stop you from doing from your human rights. So of course you're going to swallow a battery. I mean, anyone would swallow a battery under their circumstances, wouldn't they?
They just putting me under so much pressure. It's like my mental health going down. Now the psychiatrist came to see me just before, and here he said, for your health and safety and all that, I'm not releasing you back to there. I'm going to keep you for a bit time with us in the hospital and here.
Ali, you don't need to go back there, really. I'm wondering if there's a way.
So he's in the hospital feeling sorry for us more than both of us, and the Australian minister and the Prime Minister. Absolutely.
And so there's been quite a lot of mental health issues and problems in the camps and the detention centres, haven't they, Ali?
Yes, there's been a lot of issues. It's been like I saw, for instance, I saw in where I am now in PRDC, I saw a wife and husband being separated. The husband living in a separate room and the wife living in a separate room, and they're not allowed to see each other only 2 times a week for 1 hour, and they're not allowed to kiss each other.
Yeah, it's very sad, isn't it, that these places are being places of horror, aren't they?
Yeah, I tried to go because the guy's waiting for me in Yongah Hill to go there with them and help them to do some changes in Yongah Hill, but they're not letting me go to Yongah Hill. And they're keeping me in that place. I suffer from mental health. I've been 5 years in detention now, so I'm in a room by myself. All of a sudden now with 8 people in a room, it's just not really good to be sharing a room with even one person. I don't like it, and I don't want to be there. And I told them, I said, send me back to Adelaide, wherever I came from. I was there happy, and it's a good detention centre. Why you moved me from Adelaide to PRDC, where I didn't ask for PRDC? I asked for Yongah Hill. And then when I fly from there, they told me I'm going to Yongah Hill, and then a quick change over in the airport. Soon I arrive in Perth. PRDC people picked me up and put me in Perth Detention Centre, not Yongah Hill.
Right. Yeah,
so
I mean,
they lied to me from the start, and then now it's just backfiring on my mental health and my issues and everything. There's so much issues and so much problems they need to fix before it'll get worse, because this is just, it's getting too much.
Look, it is getting too much, and I'm just wondering, without going too much into it, because I know it's still pending, isn't it? But is there any progress with your case and being able to get your visa back?
I got about my visa. I got a court case in Melbourne on the 5th and the 4th of February.
Right.
And we're going to go to the judge and say, hello, judge, 2 years ago I won my case. Can you find out from the minister why I haven't been released yet? I'm just waiting, bending on one signature of the minister, and I'll be free then. So we trying, me and my lawyer, to put the pressure on the minister and of the Home Affairs to actually sign my paperwork and release me, sign my visa and release me, which is, this one is going to go through to court on the 5th of February and the 4th of February.
And where is that going to be, in Melbourne?
Yeah, in Melbourne.
Whereabouts? What court?
Melbourne
court?
Federal Court, Melbourne.
Well, we'll make sure that we advertise that so that people can come and support you.
It will be all my friends and my refugee advocate people and the grandmother for refugees and justice for refugees. All of them will be with me. Same last time when you were with me in court. They will be all with me coming to court.
Indeed. And in fact, I believe that court case was in September, wasn't it, Ali?
Yeah, the last court, you went with me. Yeah,
I did. Yes, I did go to that court case, and you kind of won it. But the thing is, though, Ali, you have to get out of there. You simply have to get out of detention now.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on it with my lawyers and try to organize everything, and hopefully, finger crossed, we get some justice out of this. But all I am saying is there is no difference between center and center. But why place like that? Why always place like this? Always suicidal, self-harms people, depressing. So much bad rules, like handcuffing people all the time. So violent and bad attitude, bad conditions. The center is absolutely disaster. Filthy, dirty, cleaners not doing their right job, border force not doing the right job. All of them, no one doing the right job inside Perth detention centres. Either Yonge Hill or PRDC, both the same, running exactly the same rules.
How are you getting on at the hospital? Are you being treated okay?
In the hospital, it's been okay. Royal Perth Hospital is actually really good. It's in a city, Perth City, and it's been really okay. It's been very. So far, it's really good with me, and they keep me here because they saw me. I've been depressing and depression and that, so they just keeping me here just to give me time out of the detention because detention is it's just really bad. We got a couple of managers. I don't know what they're thinking about. It's just really bad. Manager Hugo and manager Reza and Hugo. And
you know
the top circle manager, the top one center manager is Andre Roger. Andre Roger, he's actually, until now, I've seen him only for 2 minutes.
It's very sad,
only
Ali.
2 minutes I've seen him, and he knows I got so much issues. Why are you not coming to see your detainees? If you're running a center without seeing the detainees, you're not a good manager because you know communicate with the detainees. If you don't communicate with your detainees, the ones you have in your center, you're not a manager. What? An office manager, you're just in the office sitting down watching YouTube and getting paid for. It's not good.
There needs to be a system where you can help the detainees. And you have heard about the Medivac bill that was repealed, haven't you? What do you think of that, Ali?
It was really sad. It was really sad. These people, most of them, I live with them in Adelaide and I see them when they were even in Brisbane and Melbourne and that. Most of them suffering really badly from mental health and suffering really badly. They don't deserve to be like that. They've been already 7 and 8 years and 6 years in detention. They had enough.
They've had enough.
That, they can't even Medicare treated them. It's really sad to see people doing, like, just to see a human being doing to another human being like that. It's really sad. It's heartbreaking, actually, to see things like that happening from Australian people or Australian government to this kind of people. But what harm they done to you, these people, to do to them like that? You can't even, the basic thing to offer them, the Medicare, you can't even offer them that.
And even with the Medivac bill, that was a piece of legislation that enabled, Manus Island and Nauru to have the people from there to be able to go into Australia to have hospital care, and now that can't happen anymore because the Morrison government took it away.
Yes, I know. And I did read a lot about actually the Medivac and that, and about the bad psychiatrists who were interviewing all this kind of people inside the Brisbane, Julian Spencer, and she's really bad psychiatrist. She put all the reports. She said they are perfectly fine, and she sent her report to Parliament, and she said they are all of them perfectly fine. They can go back to Manus Island and Nauru.
It really is a dreadful thing. It's a systematic breakdown, isn't it, of repealing it, so that people can't get the care they need.
All detention centres is like a big politics, and we are not names. We are just a numbers. Every single one of the detainees inside detention is a number. To them, we only money. Is nothing. Is they look at us as a money investment to detention centres and to this government. It's nothing to do with them saving Australian people or saving Australian community.
No. That's right. And in fact, really, all this money that's going into offshore processing and even onshore processing, put the money into the community, put the money into housing and into helping asylum seekers adjust to community. Ali, how's it going over there? So are you on a drip now? Are you? Are you being fed with fluids?
Yeah, just a fluid. Yeah, just drinks. Not allowed to eat any type of food. Yeah.
What are you going to do? Like, were they going to do another operation to get the battery out?
I think so. I think they decide later on today. They'll come up and see me later on, because here we only 1 o'clock now, and here in Perth. So it's still early. They'll come up by 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock maybe.
Okay.
The doctors talk to me and decide what to do.
Ali, keep me informed, won't you? And Peter also says hello to you. He wasn't able to come to the show today.
Yeah, I did talk to him today in the morning.
Good.
Yeah, I miss Peter, actually. He's good, actually.
Yeah.
Exactly the same as you. Two of you is really nice and good people to help other people as well.
I hope so.
The truth to Australian people on the street.
Absolutely, Ali. Okay, Ali, well, keep in touch with us. Let us know what's going on.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll look at the court case next year and see about coming down there to support you and spread the word. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. And that was Ali, who is an Iraqi asylum seeker, detained, and he attempted suicide. He swallowed a battery, and is now in hospital. And the doctors wish to keep him in hospital to work out what to do with this battery and to assist him with his mental health problems. We're going to be speaking with Ali again. This is our last show today, but we'll speak with him next year in late January and cover the court case as well that he's going to be in February.
6 years I've been in desert.
Beyond the Bars is 3CR's annual prison project, giving voice to our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander inmates right across Victoria.
It's good to be here with us, Aboriginal radio, and you don't really get to do this much. Brings us all together.
You'll get your time to take that first step out that front door to freedom beyond these walls.
And I just want to say thank you to all of you for giving us the opportunity to speak on air.
The reason, the bigger the calling. Make your commitment and watch things unfold.
And you can listen to audio from this year's broadcasts and previous years as well, online at any time. Just go to 3cr.org.au/Beyond the Bars.
But also, while I'm here, I'd like to say thank you for coming, helping, giving us a chance to do this. It's really good, It's been going for a while now. Hopefully it keeps going. It's good that we can do this and get our voice out there as prisoners.
We can't blame everything on the external, so let's stop looking for it in the hands of the persecutor, because real power comes from here and it comes from family.
If you would like us to post you a free CD, contact the station on 03 9419 8377.
And you're back with the Doing Time show. We're going to be speaking with Brett Collins from Justice Action shortly about David Dungay, the Aboriginal death in custody of David Dungay. And Brett is going to give us an update of what happened at the recent inquest. And just a quickly quote from the report on the coroner's decision that was on the the Justice Action website. Just quickly, on December the 29th, 2015, David Dungay Jr. died in Sydney's Long Bay Prison Hospital after being violently manoeuvred by corrective service officers, held face down and sedated because he refused to stop eating a rice cracker. And we're going to be speaking with Brett pretty soon. We interviewed Letona, David's mother, earlier on in the year. And they've really been mucked around, this family, in terms of inquest after inquest and just a lot of dragging the feet of the government. Hello, Brett. Welcome to the program.
Yes, I'm Marissa. The last program of the year, mate.
Last program of the year, Brett.
I don't know how we're going to handle this. I'm sure all the people inside the prisons are going to go, hang on, we want our break too, and we're not going to have our program to carry us over the season.
They'll have music though at that time, so that'll be good. They can listen to music specials and get that happening.
Good.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
But thank you. That's lovely that you like our show so much, Brett.
Yeah, for sure. No, you guys are really important, and never doubt for a moment how much people appreciate the chance first of all, to express what we're doing for the community, for our community inside the prisons, and I'm sure that allowing the people in prisons to actually hear your support, getting information they wouldn't otherwise get, and linking across to activists in their field, giving support to them. That's a wonderful thing. Wonderful job you're doing.
Thanks so much, Brett. It's and we've had a really tough year, actually. There have been a lot of deaths in custody, a lot of inquests, as you know. Auntie Tanya Day, she had her inquest here this year in 2019, and her findings will be handed down in March next year. And then of course, we've got David Dungay as well. Can you tell us what happened with David Dungay and give us a little bit of an update of what happened at the inquest?
Well, look, I suppose the most important thing is that if it really threw up some pretty stark issues for the average person in the public. The David Dungay case was particularly remarkable because the guy was not causing anyone any difficulty. All he wanted was to eat his wife's crackers, which he'd paid for himself. And the intervention by the prison officers was a muscle flexing exercise to try and tell this guy, who is an Aboriginal boy who had only 18 years old, was put in jail. He only had weeks to finish his sentence before he was to be released. And they tried to still continue to try to stand over him. So he shouted at them and said, "No, I want my rice crackers," and he kept them, hung on to them. So they decided that no matter what happens, they'd take the biscuits away, whether or not he had a right to have them. And so they brought a 6-member IA team, the immediate action team, in and hit him with a shield right in the face, bang, drove him back, and then turned him over, handcuffed him, and smothered him. And in that process, he died. But they didn't even try to properly resuscitate him. The amount of support coming from Justice Health was actually just outrageous. They'd never previously had a real attempt at resuscitating someone. They'd been untrained. No one cared. And the fact that no one cared became obvious because when they discovered that the technique they had used to hold him down was one that had been proven to have killed people in the past, they didn't even bother to even tell other people about the lessons they'd learned. So for 18 months, other people were being treated in the same way, and the other people's lives were being put at risk. So they never cared until eventually they said, "Whoa, just a moment, this is going to be uncovered by the inquest." And at that stage, they had to try to cover their traces. So
the inquest was held at the New South Wales State Coroner's Court.
That's right. Now, look, it went for the remarkable thing was it went for 3 weeks.
Really?
3 weeks full time. Had national attention. It was a case where you could actually see what happened. So they had a camera when the immediate action team came in and hit him. They had a camera there beside them because they were required to have it. And so you could see what happened. You could actually hear him saying, I can't breathe. And they said, Carlos, you can talk so you can breathe. He said 12 times. They counted 12 times. They had him there for over 8 minutes. They had him scrunched over. They had him knees in his back. They suffocated him. There's no question they actually caused the heart attack that from which he died. And so that was, everyone could see that. The only question was, who's going to be held responsible for this? Because apparently, according to the lawyers involved in the case, no one in New South Wales history has ever been charged, like a prison officer charged, with killing a prisoner. Never. And so this is a situation which was to be breaking the drought, holding people responsible for what they're doing, for the prison officers held responsible for killing an Aboriginal boy. And this situation, everyone had expected it to happen. They had people from all the television stations there waiting. And then what happened? The coroner squibbed it again, and didn't recommend the charges, and now it's left to the DPP to do charges. But at the end of it, he made some recommendations that are useful. So we immediately folded in behind the recommendations. So
Tell us about the recommendations. What were the recommendations that emerged from the inquest?
Well, look, the recommendations, there were a number. There were about 10 of them, but there were two that we thought that were very, very important. One was the entitlement for an Aboriginal delegate, and so prisoner delegate, one of the prisoners themselves, to be there, trained, and to be beside him. So instead of David Dungay being by himself, isolated, like having a 6-member team coming in on him, and having 60 seconds, right, to acknowledge that they were in charge, they were bigger than he was, and they were going to smash him anyway. So 60 seconds they gave him for him to put his hands through the hole of the door and have himself handcuffed. And failing to do that, they did what they were going to do, which was running in with the behind the shield and smacking him in the face and driving him into the bed and holding him down and then killing him. So that was the first thing, to have an Aboriginal delegate, right, selected from other prisoners, trained for the purpose, in order that person should be a bridge between the authorities and the prisoner himself or herself. That was the first thing. The second thing was that there should be de-escalation techniques involved. So they shouldn't think, you've got 60 seconds to put your arms through the hole and be handcuffed. There's no rush in doing it. There's no, we're going to overpower this man no matter what. Even though we have the shields and the force, you are required to be involved in de-escalation. So that was a very important other recommendation. So even though they have the power to overcome someone, they have to talk with the person first of all, and they have to also use social support in order for that to happen. So we went straight away back into the Commissioner, and within 2 days, went back to the Commissioner and said, Mr. Commissioner, maybe you're unaware of this, but there were 2 recommendations in the David Dungay inquest, and they were, and we said, one was the recommendation 6, and the other recommendation was recommendation 113. And the first one, recommendation 6, we said, we want to now have a discussion with you. The family has asked us to negotiate with you to ensure that the Aboriginal delegate structure is used, and we want to have a discussion with prisoners inside the Goulburn jail, where they have a very strong inmate development committee, to talk with them about how prisoners should be trained, right, first thing. And then the second thing is about de-escalation techniques. We want to talk with you about what that would mean and what would it mean on the ground, and how the Aboriginal delegate, would work on de-escalation techniques with your staff. We want a meeting urgently. Right?
So you're talking about the New South Wales Corrective Services Commissioner, Peter Seven?
That's right, Peter Seven, that's right.
Okay.
Of course, what's happening in New South Wales is something that runs out all over the states and territories, the same as what happens in Victoria, some of the horrible things in Victoria. If we can stop them, if people in Victoria can actually stop that from happening, that has an effect in all the other states and territories too. So really it's intended that the entitlement of a prisoner delegate, right, to be there, right, somebody who's selected by the prisoners themselves, to be trained and to be involved in that de-escalation. So when there's just about to have coming to running in on someone, they can't do it. They first of all have to have the prisoner delegate, Aboriginal delegate, prisoner delegate in there negotiating and talking, and that means that they have to consider carefully what they're doing before they advance on a prisoner. Very important issue.
So the coroner actually recommended this, right? The state coroner.
That's right. It was recommendation number 6.
Recommendation number 6. And if people wanted to read those findings, where could they go on the website, on the web?
They can go to the Justice Action website. We've made a point of ensuring those things are up there. So on the Justice Action website, it has the David Dungay inquest, and it's on our front page. I think might be the third featured item on our front page, David Dungay. And then you can actually come in on the findings and recommendations from the Dungay coroner's hearing, and so very significant indeed. But then straight away we had a rather disappointing response from the commissioner. He came back to us within a week and a half, and he said to us that he said thank you. Or first of all, he said, firstly, I'd like to again offer my condolences to Mr. Dungay's family. So at least he had the decency to accept that that we were talking on behalf of the Dungay family. And then he said in the second to last paragraph, thank you for your offer to work with Corrective Services New South Wales to implement these recommendations. Corrective Services New South Wales will contact you if that is necessary.
Oh.
So that's all right. That's all right. They're at the stage of having to be dragged into carrying the responsibility. So we've just come in right in behind that. We've pointed out to them exactly why they have no choice but to have outsiders in to ensure that corrective services and also justice health are held responsible for their behaviour and required to do the things that the coroner said that they should do.
Indeed, one of the things that really stands out for me on the report that Justice Action made about the recent inquest, which I believe was in July, is that right?
It was, but the actual findings themselves, I think, were down on, 22nd of November.
Oh, the findings were handed down in November, okay. Because, it's been 4 years. David Dungay died in custody in 2015, and there's been several coronial inquests, hasn't there? And it's 2019 now. How long does it take, But anyway, I'll just quote this. So nonetheless, and this is according to the report, the submissions made by David's family that the officers involved in David's death should be charged were refused. Can you comment on this?
Well, look, I think that was really really significant decision to not charge those prison officers. To not hold them responsible was just outrageous. But let me just say this: there are two things that are going to happen after that. Yeah. One is there's actually currently an action to sue the prison officers for wrongful death. Now, in a similar situation in the O.J. Simpson case in the U.S., O.J. Simpson was acquitted of murder of his wife, but the family then sued, and O.J. Simpson then, on the balance of probabilities, which we don't have to prove as a criminal case, balance of probabilities, was sued and lost $33 million. And so they were held responsible, or he was held responsible for the death of the wife of O.J. Simpson. Now, this is a similar situation, wrongful death, and that act of suing in a civil court is happening now. So that's the first thing that's happening. And then the second thing is that there's an action to bring it before the Director of Public Prosecutions for him to charge the prison officers, even if the coroner has not recommended it. And then the third thing is there's also a case before it's called WorkSafe. So WorkSafe has got this an independent obligation. It's called work cover prosecutions. And there's a barrister now looking at that and whether the prison officers can be charged for having breached the safety of David Dungay in the way they had behaved towards him, whether that was a breach of the work cover obligations here in New South Wales. And I'm sure every other state and territory has the same obligations for anyone who's working in the public service.
Absolutely. And look, it is terribly important. It sounds to me as like there was a breach of occupational health and safety.
Absolutely. No, that's one way of coming in. But I think the thing that will hurt them most of all will be suing the prison officers and corrective services and justice health for the death of David Dungay. And I think they will find there'll be millions of dollars changing hands in the back of that. And it may well be that the suing of the particular prison officers, particularly there's a prison officer F who is in charge. He will definitely be centre stage when it comes to suing for wrongful death.
So the reason for the refusal to charge, according to the coroner, comes from the fact that the officer's evidence was given willingly in exchange for protection from self-incrimination. I mean, how does that work, Brett?
Yes. Well,
seriously.
That's outrage, really. Well, you see, look, there's a basic principle, which is that people who are liable to be charged in an offence cannot be required to give evidence. That means the prosecution has to then prove the case. Now, because in this situation, all the prison officers were there together, there was nobody there independently at all, except for David Dungay himself, and he was dead. So it meant all you had was the prison officers, 6 prison officers, and Justice Health there. And so it meant that there was nobody objective who could give evidence to say the prison officers did this or did that. It was totally in the hands of the authorities. And
but the family can still sue, though. The family can still sue.
And so really, that's the exact situation where it's very difficult to have a prosecution against the authorities or state, in this case, state agents, which are the prison officers, for killing someone, because there are no voluntary witnesses. The only witnesses are there are all themselves complicit in the same action, you see. So really, to prove a case against them using independent evidence is almost impossible.
So how are they going to sue then?
Well, so what they did, they actually said, okay, we are not able to prosecute these people because there's no independent evidence that we can use to establish a case. So what we're going to do is we're going to, before the coroner's court, before the inquest, we're going to give them a certificate of immunity, which will then require them to explain why they were doing what they did and how that caused the death of David Dungay. Now, they saw that then as an exercise in gathering evidence to ensure it wouldn't happen again in future. But it also meant that it gave protection to the prison officers who gave evidence. So we had 2 things. One, at least we could highlight how callous they had been and how little they cared. But it also meant that we couldn't use the evidence that they'd given as part of a prosecution against them. But I'm sure it can be used when it comes to the civil case, though. That will be something different again.
That's a different thing.
Going to be very interesting.
But, Brett, systemic racism was definitely not discussed and it was definitely denied because basically Coroner Derek Lee noted that it was unlikely that the officers' behaviours were motivated by malicious intent, but rather a product of confusion and misunderstood information. I mean, that is just such a load of nonsense.
Yeah, look, that is nonsense. It's absolutely
it's
ridiculous,
nonsense.
Actually. I mean, it was quite clear. When you have a man saying, I can't breathe, and he says it 12 times, and you've got your knee in his back with somebody else leaning against you.
Come on.
Now, come on. That's totally against just common sense and totally against everybody's understanding. So it really, to a large extent, discredits the inquest process, because that just is ridiculous. And of course, the other thing endemic to all this is the fact that he was first Aboriginal, and you've got 30% of people inside jails, both in Victoria and New South Wales, all right over 30% are Aboriginal people, whereas they're only 2 or 3% in the general population. So you've got that inherent racism anyway about the way people are being treated inside prisons. Aboriginal people are the ones who are being mostly affected. And then you've got this contempt, right, where they can say, you've got 60 seconds to get your hands out, and we'll take away the thing you bought. Hang on. Everyone agreed. There was no reason for him to be assaulted, to be opened, for the door to be opened. There's no reason. They were his biscuits. I mean, he was entitled to eat them. It was not a health issue. It was only that they were imposing their will upon him, and they insisted on doing so. And the result of it was that he died. And to say that was a sort of miscommunication was an outrage. That was not what happened. It was quite clear what happened.
It's a total outrage.
They wanted to impose their will on him and killed him in the process.
And in the Justice Action report, reporting on the inquest, outside the New South Wales State Coroner's Court, the family of the Dungay man were shouting, "You say accident, we say murder."
That's right. There was anger. There was anger there for sure. And the commissioner turned up in his suit, looking very. No, he wasn't looking comfortable at all. Actually, he was looking uncomfortable. But at least he turned up. That was a good thing.
Yeah.
But then when he was trying to leave, everybody surrounded his car and said, "Hey, come on, we hold you responsible. You're the one who had your staff doing this, and you didn't even care. 18 months later, you still didn't do anything to stop other people killing and being killed in the same way." So there was a lot of anger.
Were you there?
Outside the coroner's court, a lot of anger in the court.
Were you there outside the car yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, the media was there in the strength, and I was happy to speak on behalf of prisoners generally. I joined the family and the lawyers and other supporters there, and I was very proud to speak on behalf of prisoners generally. We felt that there were some things that were highlighted there. The most positive from our point of view is that there is an entitlement now, according to recommendations of the coroner, that prisoners in the jails have an entitlement to have their own representation, the elected representatives, to help them in these positions of confrontation. That's very useful. It means in the future, if these same things occur, as they will, as they're happening every day, that there is an obligation on the authorities, whether it's Victoria, whether it's New South Wales, whatever state it is, an obligation on the authorities to make sure that the inmate development committee, Aboriginal delegate, whoever it is there as part of the negotiations. And that it may well be that the result isn't a lot better, but at least other people will know what's going on. It can't happen secretly.
So the state coroner actually recommended this. That's really interesting.
Sorry, I missed that last question.
Who recommended it? The state coroner?
The state coroner recommended it. It's called Recommendation 6. And,
wow.
And it was said very clearly and very directly. And what it said, I recommend that all necessary steps be taken to make an Aboriginal welfare officer or Aboriginal inmate delegate available at the Long Bay Hospital to assist where required in interactions with Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander inmates in the mental health unit and the Corrective Services New South Wales inform and train officers working in the mental health unit to utilise this process where appropriate. Recommendation 6 on page 91. So we've looked at it very carefully. We've made the point very clearly, right, that what occurs for Aboriginal prisoners applies right across the board. Doesn't make a difference. So
it does indeed.
Whether it's Aboriginal prisons, whether it's European Anglo-Saxon prisons, whether it's whoever they are, the same issue applies. And the tensions in prisons, they have an excellent way in which peer support can reduce the tension. Can reduce the tension. So we are following up that recommendation, and we see that as actually crucial to lessen the tensions inside prisons.
Indeed, yes, and in fact, the Doing Time show has interviewed Claire Seppings, who wrote the Churchill report. She won an award, and she wrote a report on this about peer support, and she did a lot of overseas work.
Issue, very important, and that's one thing that will allow not only for David Dungay and people in his situation to be safer, it will also provide a chance for prisoners, other prisoners, to learn some skills in de-escalation and community building, learning how to negotiate and being trained. And that training itself will be useful not only inside the prisons, but also for them to have jobs when they are released. And that's a very useful part of the whole operation.
I think what would be really useful at this point, Brett, if you can, do you have the recommendations in front of you?
Yes, I do, yes.
Yeah. Are you able to just, for listeners, we've talked about 2 recommendations in detail, but before we conclude our interview, are you able to just summarise for listeners what some of the other recommendations were?
Look, I looked at this before we started, and in fact we have an index to the issues which we saw as particularly important. But it doesn't. The index we have doesn't focus on the general. I think it was 10 recommendations. We have an index to the findings, which focus particularly on what we thought was the most useful. So there are things like, for example, more training for prison officers and those sort of things. We've found in the past that is not useful at all.
No.
Because prison officers are not the focus. They're really not. If they don't have aren't required to personally take responsibility for their behaviour, if they don't accept that, if they are part of a 6-person team holding someone down who says they can't breathe, if they don't understand that they will be personally held responsible for the death of that person, then that is the issue. And more training won't help that. You have to make sure that they are sued, and they personally have to carry the responsibility of what they did. So they're the sort of things we focused on. The other recommendations we found were not media strong, but they're up on the website, and they're there too. People can look at them as well. But I'm sorry, but I don't have them right in front of me.
That's okay. Look, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, really, because most of them, in a lot of inquests, most of the recommendations concentrate on the training. And as Latona said in our interview a couple of months ago, early on in the year, she said, well, training wouldn't have helped my son. Training of prison officers wouldn't have helped my son.
Yes,
and I
agree. That's not what it's about.
That's not what it's about. It's attitude, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And there has to be also other people in there. It's no good to have violence in isolation, where people can later say, and he fell over and he tripped in the shower, and so hang on. We need to ensure that there are no secret spaces in prisons, that you have got friends around you. You can be with people whom you trust, and you have people who are watching your back all the time. You should have a feeling of being safe, and you should have a feeling of love around you, love and family around you. So that means things like easy access to the internet. So we should have computers in cells by now where people can report on what has happened around them, report back to
transparency,
families, report to the ombudsman.
Yeah.
They're all obvious things that are waiting to happen. And I don't have no doubt will happen within the next short months, very short, I think less than years, I think months away from ensuring that people have access to computers in their cells and can then interact with a whole range of people, including their families, and in the same way as they have done in the ACT for the last 11 years. So that has to happen.
Look, it does, and you've spoken a lot about that on the show. And I mean, of particular concern, Brett, and this is just a final question, when you were at the inquest, was anyone implicated from the healthcare system or from any health personnel at all?
Well, yes, there was. Look, there was one particular nurse who's called Nurse Ma, who everyone tried to heap responsibility onto. They said that he was the person who didn't even check to see whether David was alive before he injected him the second time. They said that the decision to inject him was not one which came from the health authorities at all. It was actually a prison officer who called for him to be injected a second time. And so the reason that they held him, still holding him without him allowing him to breathe, was because they were waiting for the second injection. So, there's a whole area of corrective services having control, health standing back and not actually having a feeling that they had a responsibility at all. So they had this nurse scurrying in with his injection at the request, at the demand of the corrective services. So that was so wrong. So the interesting thing is, another one of the recommendations is that Justice Health, right, the nurse, has control and can decide at a stage at which the decision should be to hold them or release them, whether or not that should occur. It has to make the independent assessment, but that and take control of corrective services. Now that has never happened before. That is a change in culture. So it would mean that the health department, the nurse, right, has the responsibility to say, I think that shouldn't happen, and corrective services then has to release the person or take them into a cell and let them go, whatever it's got to be. But the nurse is in charge, not corrective services.
Absolutely. I mean, so we've got corrective services officers playing doctor, and it's had disastrous consequences, and there's been a death. Brett, thank you so much for coming onto the program. It's been great having you.
Yeah, delightful to speak with you guys during the year, and I've been so pleased to have the chance to speak to you and your listeners inside the prisons in Victoria. Hey guys and girls, hey. No, we're doing our best for you. As I say, we're doing our best, and we're not going to slow it up. And we're very pleased to work with you guys from CCR. You do a wonderful job, and so we're so pleased to get access to your program.
Brett, thank you very much, and let's watch this space about what's happening with David Dungay. He was only 26 when he died. And it really is quite horrible, and we've got to build the movement to stop Aboriginal deaths in custody.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Keep up the good work, Justice Action.
Okay.
Okay,
thanks, Mo.
Take care.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay. End of the year. Bye.
And that was Brett Collins from Justice Action speaking about the findings of the inquests that were handed down about David Dungay, who's a Dundardie man. So although the coronial inquest has concluded, this is only the first step towards justice for David Dungay Jr. and other black deaths in custody, which Justice Action continues to support. As David's mother, Latona, said, "I'm going to fight until I live in a country where black lives matter." It's approximately 4:54 and we've only got about 3 minutes left of our show. And the Doin' Time show will be back on the 27th of January. During this time slot, listen to Peter's music specials, and I'm sure that he'll be doing a great job with that over summer. So, thank you to our guests. Thank you to Ali, and we hope that we send a cheerio out to Ali in hospital, who is recovering from a suicide attempt, and we're hoping that he will be better very, very soon, and we wish him the very best for his upcoming court cases that are coming up in February to try and work out what's happening with him being set free. So free all political prisoners, free all asylum seekers and refugees, bring them here. And I want everybody to stay strong and take care, and we'll be back in January. And in fact, we're going to be doing a special Survival Day show coming up on so-called Australia Day. So it's goodbye from Marissa. We've got Beyond Zero coming up next. And if people missed out or just missed out on half the show, please go on to the podcast, and we'll be doing that podcast shortly. And goodbye for now. Thanks a lot and take care.
As long as you a true fella, as long as you a real fella. All the people of different races with different lives in different places, it doesn't matter what your name is. We got to have lots of changes. We need more brothers if we're to make it. We need more sisters if we're to save it. Are you the one who's gonna stand up and be counted? Are you the one who's gonna be there when we're shouting? Are you the one who's always ready with a helping hand? Are you the one who understands this family plan? Black fella, white fella, yellow fella, any fella, it doesn't matter what you color, as long as you a true fella. All the people of different races with different lives in different places, it doesn't matter which religions, it's all the same where the ship is sinking. We need more brothers if we're to make it. We need more sisters if we're to save it. Are you the one who's gonna stand up and be counted? Are you the one who's gonna be there when we shout it? Are you the one who's always ready with a helping hand? Are you the one who understands this family plan? Stand up and be counted. Stand up and be counted. Are you the one who's always ready?
help 3CR support the rights of Indigenous Australians.
They mean to save our culture and save our dreams, our footprints, dreams, our songline, and keep our culture going strong.
Of course, a lot of the Aboriginals, having been stolen, were put into state care, and also others
recognition of what our people have been through in the last 200 years, the recognition of our culture in the last 40,000 years, and the recognition of where we are heading into the future.
Welcome to Survival Day.